Narayana Maharaj, Jai Sri Ramakrishna.
Om Namo Narayana. We shall begin the session with the prayer. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of the life and teachings of the direct disciples. We had finished the life of Swami Adbhutanandaji Maharaj, who was fondly called as Latu. Now we have taken up the reminiscences, the memory, the teachings of Latu Maharaj, which he had received from Ramakrishna, and also all the reminiscences are about, most of them are about Sri Ramakrishna. Now we were seeing that Ramakrishna had gone to the house of Jadu Malik or Jadu Malik, who was a senior contemporary of Sri Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna had gone there to see the image of Divine Mother Simhavahini. Now, when Ramakrishna came uninvited to the house, and Jadu Malik's attitude was different. He was addressing him, talking to him very casually. He was lying down on a marble bench. He would not even get up to wish and greet Ramakrishna. And Ramakrishna himself had to ask to get some prasad of the Divine Mother. Otherwise, if a monk or a saint or a godly person comes to the house and goes away without getting anything, that will be inauspicious to the whole family. So Ramakrishna himself asked, see, at least get some prasad, I will take it and then go. Even then he ordered somebody. So now Jadu Malik, the master, came to see the new image of the goddess Simhavahini. Now all these incidences are said by or told by Latu Maharaj. He had gone accompanied Ramakrishna there. The master came to see the new image of the goddess Simhavahini, who was the presiding deity at Jadu Malik's house. After visiting the shrine, the master asked about Jadu Malik. Jadu Babu was lying on a marble bench. He greeted Master. Welcome, welcome, young priest. You don't come this way very often anymore. But since Mother is here now, you have remembered us. In reply, the master said, what type of a man are you? Mother has come here and you didn't tell me and let me know. You didn't let me know about that. To which Jadu Malik replied, young priest, I have never met a man so well informed about the mother as you are. Replied Jadu Babu, she arrived just yesterday and you have come already. When have I had the time to send the news to you? All right, said Sri Ramakrishna smiling. Now please ask some of the Divine Mother Simhavahini's prasad to be bought. It would not be auspicious if we returned home without having taken anything. It is considered inauspicious for a householder not to offer anything to a holy man who visits his home. Still lying on the bench, Jadu Malik ordered someone to bring some prasad, and that was done instantly. When the master was ready to leave, Jadu Malik said, won't you say hello to my mother? So Sri Ramakrishna shouted from there, hello, Jadu Malik's mother, Jadu's mother. Will you give me a glass of water? Jadu Malik's mother came downstairs with a glass of water. The master took it and sipped from it once only. When the master returned to the carriage, the devotee said, sir, please don't go. One of the devotees, Latu Maharaj, is just watching. Now that devotee was very upset with the way Jadu Malik behaved. Now, you get an opportunity here. All of us many times ask me, Swamiji, those people insulted me, they didn't invite me, they behaved like this to me, and so we are upset. So, what are we to do? How should we take the insults? So, now when you learn how Ramakrishna, the Avatar Purusha himself, the Lord himself, has been insulted in this manner, but what will be the behavior of Ramakrishna? That will be a great lesson to all of us. So, let us carefully listen and then bring about that in our own life and remove if you have already taken hurt due to some incidences from somebody, the peaked feeling, the hurt feeling, that will be gone. You can remove it from now, this second. When the master returned to the carriage, Latu Maharaj was watching. One of the devotees said, Sir, please don't go to such a rich man's house again. This Jadu Malik insulted you. Why should you visit him? He did not even ask you to be seated. And he didn't get up too. He was just lying on that marble bench. Why should you be subjected to such insults? And what is the reply? So these are all our worldly standards. They didn't respect me. They didn't give me the first preference. They should have done like this. These should have done like this. All these are all unnecessary wild imagination of ours, which we imagine, and unnecessarily it's your own problem. And you create a very big issue of a nothing issue. See how Ramakrishna behaves here. The master answered, see, these people are worldly people and they are always desiring worldly things. Yet, in between their worldly thoughts, they worship the Divine Mother. You don't even do that much. You people don't even worship the Mother, at least in spite of all the worldly work. This Jadu Malik, though he is after money and worldly things, once in a while he worships the Divine Mother. So now you can see the difference between ordinary egoistic human being and the thinking of the Lord. Ramakrishna himself has told what is the difference between human being and God. Human being always tends to find a very small mistake, even though he has got hundreds of good things from that person, many good things from that person, and that person might have committed a very small mistake, and this human being will take up that small mistake and make it a big issue, make a mole of a mountain, and then blame him and criticize him. So Ramakrishna tells that is the nature of a human being. Then what is the nature of God? You might have committed hundreds of mistakes. You might have 100 blemishes in you. Even a small good thing, the Lord will take up and He will lift you up from that quagmire. That is the difference between human beings and gods. There is a saying in English similar to that. What is that? God gives and forgives. Man gets and forgets. Now, you can see Ramakrishna is telling these are worldly people and they are always desiring worldly things, yet in between their worldly thoughts, they worship the Divine Mother. That much is something great. At least in all these worldly desires and worldly things and busy schedule, at least he's thinking of Divine Mother and worshipping her. Isn't that a big thing? And you, that devotee is addressing the devotee, is telling you, don't even do that much. Why should your heads ache over whether he did or didn't ask me to sit down? You came to visit the mother, and as a bonus you received some prasads also. Isn't that enough for you? Who else would have given you prasad at such an unusual hour? Did you come only to visit Jadu Malik and to be offended because he did not ask you to be seated? Or did you come to see mother? We have come to see Mother. That much is enough. Whether he respected me, whether he gave me a seat, that is secondary. We have come to see Mother. And in spite of going there uninvited, he at least talked to us and gave some prasad. That much is enough. They are thinking of Mother, they are worshipping Divine Mother. That itself is a great thing. So now you can see the ocean of difference between our thinking and the Avatar Purusha's thinking. The Avatar Purusha has come down here to be a model, to be an ideal. We have to follow him. Now, from this second onwards, all the hurt feelings, if you have taken by somebody insulting you, can be removed. These lines, these words, this angle of thinking of Ramakrishna itself, something great. Where is the question of insult? You just imagine so many things because you have ego. Because of your ego, you think, oh, that person didn't respect me, and they will be always the human beings I have seen. Many places, even devotees too. Oh, those people have built that thing, they have built a hospital, they have built a image, they have kept a temple this way. So they will go on finding fault. They will have so many things in their own problems, in their own houses, amongst the children, wife, husbands, and so many other things. They are not bothered about. Each time with all that problems, they'll be searching if somebody else has committed something, some other mistake, and they'll be pointing at that and troubling them. Once I had to tell, you have donkey rotting in your backyard and you want to see a small rat dead in another's backyard. Why don't you mind the donkey rat rotting in your backyard and cleanse it? Instead, you are worried about the small rat or a cockroach rotting in another's backyard. That itself is a very big issue when you have a donkey or an elephant or a camel rotting in your back. So you have a lot of problem. Mind that. Don't find fault in others. So something like that Ramakrishna is telling. These are worldly people and they are always desiring worldly things. Yet in between their worldly thoughts, they worship the Mother. You don't even do that much. Why should your heads ache over whether he did or didn't ask me to sit down? I never took it as a insult. You came to visit the Mother and as a bonus you received some prasad. Isn't that enough for you? Who else would have given you prasad and at such an unusual time? Did you come here only to visit Jadu and to be offended because he did not ask you to be seated? So some people will be waiting for an opportunity to find faults. They go somewhere and here to catch hold of some faults like this, waiting to the mistakes to be committed, and they will take up, they enjoy all these things, troubling others, criticizing others. That is their nature. It's called Vishayananda. Those people are interested only in such fault finding. Everywhere they find joy in it. Vishayananda. There is Bhajanananda. There is Brahmananda. There are so many joys. And the worldly people and the people of this nature have this Vishayananda, finding fault. They find joy in all these things. Trouble of others. The devotees who had spoken against Jadu Malik became silent. Thus, Sri Ramakrishna would test us. If you want to be a sadhu, now Latu Maharaj is telling, the devotee who had spoken against Jadu Malik, he became silent. In this way, Latu Maharaj is telling that Ramakrishna would test us. So now, Latu Maharaj is continuing. He is giving his conclusion. What is that conclusion of Latu Maharaj? If you want to be a sadhu, holy man, he would say, give up the idea of self-importance. So again, he is giving the teaching of Ramakrishna, telling that if you want to be a holy man, a sadhu, a devotee of God, Ramakrishna would say, give up the idea of self-importance. So all of us, what are we to take here now? Give up the idea of self-importance. We don't take this, we will forget now, nicely forget these teachings, which is very, very important. But we will use the teaching, take up some other teaching, just like devil quoting the scriptures. and start finding fault with others. All these teachings are to find fault in oneself, in ourselves. And if we have anything, remove that and then be purified. Instead, we take selective teachings and find fault in others. See what is another beautiful saying of Sri Ramakrishna? If you want to be a holy man, if you want to be a saint, if you want to be a devotee, then Ramakrishna would say, according to Latu, give up the idea of self importance. Again and again, I will repeat it. Please give up the idea of self importance. That is ego. That will trouble you. It will push you away from God. You will lose everything because of this. Please, Ramakrishna is telling, give up the idea of self importance. Pay no attention whether you are respected or not. Pay no attention to whether you are respected or not. Give up the idea of self-importance. Pay no attention to whether you are respected or not. One day, the master told Jadu Malik, you have saved so much for this world. You have saved so much for this world. You have earned security in the form of wealth, money, land, and so many other things for this world. What have you acquired for the next? After the death, then there is the next life. Now in this body, from our childhood to our death, this life, this world and the next. So now you have done a lot for your this life. Already you are at the fag end of your life. Jadu Malik, Jadu Babu, you have saved so much for this world. This is a direct question to all of us. We are doing so much. The husband is working, the wife is working, the children are working, so much of money and so much of spending, because most of the thing go away on all these glittering things. They will glitter money, waste money and so many unnecessary things. Now, okay, you have already done, but they don't stop there at all. Once they have reached something, they can maintain the whole life with whatever they have earned now. A simple life and high thinking. They don't turn their mind to high thinking at all. They don't turn their life towards spiritual life at all. Spiritual life is only a fashion, just to show off to the people that we are going to the temple, we are going to the ashram, we have something. That's all. They don't take spiritual life seriously. They go on and working, earning money, money. And they will be interfering into the life of their children and other family too. And finally, one day, those people will force them out of the house into the old age home or nursing home. Then they go there and sit crying. Instead, start now detaching from the activities of the children. Let them stand on their own feet. They have enough strength. It is Lord who is protecting them. You falsely think they are totally dependent upon you. If you don't work, the whole world will collapse and the family will collapse. That is a most wrong idea in Karma Yoga, says Swami Vivekananda. Not even a small animal is dependent upon you. The whole thing is taken care of by the nature, Mother Prakriti. Everyone will be fed. If you are earning and feeding somebody, you are only a instrument in the hand of the Divine Mother. Divine Mother, the nature, Prakriti is feeding everyone, looking after everyone. You need not do anything to anybody. Just take care of your spiritual life. Enough. You have exhausted enough of your karma. Now turn, at least now turn. It's already too late towards spiritual life. Do not waste your energy. You always think, oh, without me, how can my children come up? Without me, how will the husband manage? Without me, how will the wife manage? What about that? What about this? Please do everything. But turn towards spiritual life and go forward. Now, Ramakrishna is asking, you have saved so much for this world. What have you acquired for the next? Jadu Babu replied, young priest, you are the one who will take care of the other world for me. He knew the greatness of Sri Ramakrishna. He knew that he was an avatar Purusha. God himself has taken the human form. He knew that. But in spite of that, see the casual attitude. But he had deep faith in Ramakrishna. Do we have that? We don't have the faith. And we go on doing only for this world, accumulating. And once you die, all that will either go to the doctor or the hospital, or the bad children, they will waste all that, or some thief will steal it, and everything is gone. What have you done for the next life? But Jadu Malik has faith in Ramakrishna. Young priest, you are the one who will take care of the other world for me. Why are you there? You are here to look after me. So I am not bothered at all. I am now bothered enjoying my life peacefully. So when I die, you are there, you will take care of me. Why have you come as Avatara? I am also one of the part of the world. So here, it is not the ego, but it is the faith. And now see, because Ramakrishna can see the heart, the inner thing of the person. So now, this Jadu Malik is wonderfully replying. When Ramakrishna asked, you have saved so much for this world, what have you acquired for the next? This answer will not hold good for us. We have to do a lot of sadhana because we don't have that intense faith in Ramakrishna. If you have, we simply tell in the mouth, oh, we have surrendered to Lord, oh, we have taken recourse to Ramakrishna, he will save us. That is only lip service. Yeah, Jadu Malik means it. Young priest, you are the one who will take care of the world for me. You will save me at the moment of the death, and I am waiting until then. If you don't grant me, see, he is also threatening Sri Ramakrishna. So much of faith. If you don't grant me liberation, if you don't take care of me after my death, at the time of my next journey after the death, if you don't grant me liberation, then you, Ramakrishna, you will get a bad name. Why? Your name, the deliverer of the fallen, Patita Pavana. Your name, he knew this avatar. What do we call? He knew he was Rama, he was Krishna who has come in this body as Ramakrishna. He knew very well. So what do we pray? Raghupati Raghava Rajaram, Patita Pavana Sitaram. Patita Pavana means the deliverer of the fallen, Patita Pavana. So now he knows that very well. Jadu Malik is telling, if you don't grant me liberation, your name, oh Ramakrishna, you are not an ordinary person, you are the avatara of Vishnu. You are called as the deliverer of the fallen. So if you don't protect me, if you don't give me liberation, your name, the deliverer of the fallen, will be marred. You will get a bad name. And so that's why you are forced now. So you cannot forget me at my death. You have to take care of me. See the wonderful faith. You see, Latu Maharaj is telling, although Jadu Malik had plenty of money and riches and wealth, he couldn't give up the desire for more. Another time, Sri Ramakrishna told Jadu Malik, Jadu, you have saved so much money, yet still you want more. Why is this greed? Now Jadu Babu replied to Ramakrishna, that desire for more wealth and money will not go from me. Now see, he is telling Ramakrishna, he is taunting Ramakrishna, he is comparing himself with Ramakrishna, and he is telling this worldly desire for money and wealth from me will not go away. And he is telling wonderfully, see the way, the angle he puts it. He tells, you cannot, oh Ramakrishna, can you give up the desire for God? You love God. You have so much of desire for God. I am a worldly man. I have desire for money and wealth. My desire for wealth and money will not go away. How? How? In what way? Because your desire for God, will you give up it? Will you give up the desire for God? He is asking, arguing with Ramakrishna in such a way that desire for worldly objects, money, wealth will not go from me. O Ramakrishna, O young priest, you cannot give up the desire for God. In the same way, we worldly people cannot give up our desire for money. When you can't give up the desire for God, how do you expect that we worldly people will give up the desire for money? Why should I renounce money? You renounce all the things of the world and yearn for God, while I am a beggar asking for more and more of the riches of God. Doesn't worldly wealth also belong to Him? Is the wealth and money something away from God? It also belongs to God. So I'm asking something of the God. I'm a beggar. I'm begging for more and more money. What is wrong in that? Ramakrishna was very pleased with this attitude. See, now you can look at the way of thinking of the people from another angle. You can appreciate that. This is not for you to be followed, but the important thing is the faith. That is more important. Take only the spirit, essence of that saying. Don't literally imitate somebody. If the donkey puts the skin of a tiger or a lion, it doesn't become a lion. You have to do hard work. Then if you put in the effort and smart work, then you might become a better mule. The mule puts in more effort and work hard, then you can become a horse. Then you can become a better horse. But just by imitating somebody, you will not become a lion. So instead of just imitating and wasting your energy on show off, do something to become a mule. Do something to become a better horse. So now here, when Jadu Malik gave out his thoughts, the desire for money for us worldly people will not go. How? You cannot give up, O Ramakrishna, the desire for God. In the same way, we worldly people cannot give up our desire for money. Why should I renounce money? You renounce all the things of the world and yearn for God. We renounce God Himself and yearn for money. Well, I am a beggar asking for more and more of His riches. Doesn't worldly wealth also belong to Him? The master was very pleased to hear this line of argument. I'm telling you not to imitate this. The faith of that person, Ramakrishna could read his mind. So that's why he is pleased. If you imitate, then the Lord will be angry on us. The master was very pleased to hear this line of argument. Then Ramakrishna is telling, if you really maintain this attitude, you have no need to worry. Yes, faith was genuine. So Ramakrishna is telling, if you maintain this attitude, you have no need to worry. But tell me, Jadu, are you saying this sincerely? Are you sincere in telling these words? If you are sincere about this, in this attitude, if you maintain this attitude, really, you have no need to worry. But tell me, Jadu, are you saying this sincerely? Yes, he was telling that sincerely, but Ramakrishna is imprinting that on us, for us, because Master was very pleased to hear the line of argument. Then Jadu Malik replied, young priest, you know that I cannot hide anything from you. Is there anything that I can hide from you? You can read everybody's thoughts and mind. You know everything of this world. You are the indweller. Can I hide anything from you? Young priest, you know that I cannot hide anything from you. So, what a wonderful faith. What a wonderful different angle of thinking. You can enjoy all these things, isn't it? You can develop the attitude, you can develop the sincerity and faith, but please don't imitate anything. That is natural to him. Ramakrishna was pleased. Once Girish Chandra Ghosh, after he would be drunk and he was used all the abusive and foul words and filthy words, Ramakrishna would put up with that. But another person, another devotee, wanted to imitate Girish Chandra Ghosh. And he started using such words, and Ramakrishna scolded him nicely. That's not your attitude. Yes, it suits Girish because he's a Bhairava. It suits him. That's not your attitude. Don't imitate somebody. He got nice scolding because of that. So now the case with Jadu Malik on another occasion, Latu Maharaj is telling. And another occasion, the master said to Jadu Malik, "Oh Jadu, you used to chant the name of God, but now you don't think of Him. You don't think of God. Earlier you used to chant the name of God, but nowadays I don't see that you chant the name of God. Why is this? Why are you not chanting the name of God?" Then to that again, we will enjoy the reply of this Jadu Malik. Really something special, isn't it? All of us are enjoying. Now Jadu Babu said, "Since I know you, a young priest, I know you, Ramakrishna, you are the avatar Purusha. Since I know you, I don't feel the need to call on God. You are God. Then why should I call on God when the God is by my side?" See that attitude. "Oh, young priest, since I know you, I don't feel the need to call on God. And I have found that if I chant the name of the Lord," see the wonderful attitude. "And I found that if I chant the name of the Lord, my mind cannot concentrate on worldly duties. I cannot look after my money and other wealth if I go on chanting the Lord. I have come to know this. And I have found that if I chant the name of the Lord always, my mind cannot concentrate on worldly affairs. So it will suffer. So I neglect the Lord in order to look after my fortune." Open reply to the Lord is open and pick his heart. Nothing hiding. He's not a hypocrite, you see. "Since I know you, that you are the Avatara, you are the Lord. So when you are there with me, why should I chant the name of the Lord?" Was the first line of argument. "Since I know you, I don't feel the need to call on God. And I have found out that if I chant the name of the Lord always, my mind cannot concentrate on worldly affairs. So I neglect the Lord in order to look after my fortune." Then Ramakrishna replied, "Don't go so far, Jadu. Don't go so far, Jadu," said the master. Why must you be like an ox? The bullock is yoked to the cart or the plow and made to do so much of work on the field, and yet has to pull the burden. So Ramakrishna is telling, "Don't go so far, Jadu." Said the master, "Why must you be like an ox yoked to the grinding mill?" In India, the olden days, the oil industrialists, those whose work or their family business was to prepare oil from different ingredients and then sell it to the people. They would crush, there would be a mill, a stone thing there, and another stone internal thing in that. So they would put the sesame seed, sesame or sesame seed, and then sometimes they would put the groundnut or the peanut seed, the raw one, and sometimes some other, so many different materials are there, till, gingerly, or many other oil they would put into that, crush that, and take out the oil in a pure form, collect it in another place, and sell it to the people. That family business was preparation of the oil and selling it to the people. Even now they are there. Now, how would they run that mill? So that there will be one stone vessel-like thing made out of granite stone, and inside it there will be a big boulder. It is just like a big round spherical thing, and it will be connected to the wooden pole, and there will be a yoke, and the bullock will be tied to that, and there would be a track, and that bullock has to go round and round and round that mill, and here the stone will crush that grain or something which has the oil property in it. Then there would be an opening at the bottom, and the oil will get collected in the box, and that will be sold. So even now in the villages you can see such thing, pure form of oil. All that machineries and crushing it, and they call it what you call nowadays they heat it at high temperature. Refined oil. They are all not at all good for health. For thousands and thousands of years in India, people have been using this kind of natural crushed oil. It was very good. But nowadays, oh, scientific innovations, and we have done the refined oil, and they made a cholesterol a big issue. It was all the drama of the pharmaceutical company to sell palm oil and other things which they had in plenty. So they would alter the market with all their strategies and advertisements, and they would bribe the doctors and tell that, oh, this problem, that problem. And now after introducing so many refined oils, sunflower oil, palm oil, vegetable oil for business, now the doctors in America is telling there is no problem of cholesterol at all. There is no bad cholesterol. There is one little problem of the cholesterol. They made a huge issue. What for? To gain lot of money with this refined oil. And now they are reverting back to ordinary oil. The coconut oil is the best. It's very good for health. North India, they use the sesame oil. That is very good. Til, they make out of oil out of the tila. That's very good for health. And in other parts of India, they use the groundnut or the peanut oil. It's very good for the health. There's no issue of cholesterol at all. There was a small issue. They made a big issue and stopped all these people using the traditional things, and they introduced all this sunflower oil, palm oil, vegetable oil, and so many other things, and they spoiled really the health of all the people. Now they are reverting back to the old days, and they are using the natural products. So now why must you be like an ox or a bull yoked to the grinding mill? So just like the ox or the bull is tied to that grinding mill, and it goes round and round and round that mill, that's all, nothing all the whole day, it will be going round. And if it stops, it will get a beating on the back. Then again it has to go around, nothing else. So no aimless thing. Like that, you are wanting to just increase your wealth, earn money and money like that bull. You don't want to, yes, after you have experienced all that thing, you have to go give up all those things and go to the higher level. You don't want to come out. You are just going like that ox around the mill, nothing else. Why do you want to be like that ox or a bull? Ramakrishna is asking him. Why must you be like an ox yoked to the grinding mill? Do you know what Jadu Malik replied to that? He told, that's the result of my past actions, my karma, said Jadu Babu. Now, Latu Maharaj has finished that reminiscences of Ramakrishna and Jadu Malik. Now Latu Maharaj is telling, the master taught me a great deal, that is Latu Maharaj. Sometimes Ramakrishna would ask Latu, so Latu Maharaj is telling, sometimes I would purposely, Ramakrishna would purposely send me to Lorraine, that is Narayan, Swami Vivekananda. Latu Maharaj pronounced Narayan as Lorraine, so that I would hear about many things from him. Often the master would arrange a debate between Girish Babu, Girish Chandra Ghosh and Lorraine, because both were great intellectuals. And Ramakrishna would deliberately introduce an argument on some, they would give a topic and allow them to argue because both were great intellectuals. But Narayan was very powerful and intelligent, and he was not afraid to challenge anyone. He would argue a lot, and I would report it all to Sri Ramakrishna. Now and then the master would test me. Once he asked me, that is Latu, he asked Latu, Naren said all this and you kept quiet. Why didn't you give this type of argument? Why did you keep quiet? You have gained so much from me. I have taught you so much. You could have argued against this line of argument, what he put forth, Naren. Why did you keep quiet? So I would report all that argument between Narendra and Girish Chandra Ghosh. Now and then, Master would test me, Latu. Once he asked Latu, Naren said all this and you kept quiet. To which Latu replied to Sri Ramakrishna, what do I know, Master? Was my answer. How can I compete with Lorraine? I have not even read one book. I don't know to read and write. And Naren is so intelligent, is so well read. And how can I compete with Lorraine? And what do I know? I am a dullard. Was my answer. How can I compete with Lorraine? Which Sri Ramakrishna said, you have heard so many things from here. As I told you, Ramakrishna had removed completely the ego. The basics of spiritual life is perfect self-abnegation, removal of the ego, removal of the selfishness. So Ramakrishna had gone to such an extreme that he would not even mention the word I. So now you can see, you have heard so many things from here. You would show this body and told here. You would not tell I. The word I would not be could not be repeated, because he had completely eradicated ego. So you have heard so many things from here, meaning himself, and you said nothing. You should have told him that if God did not create this world, who did it? Lorraine says that this creation is a natural process. I replied to Ramakrishna. So you should have told him that if God did not create this world, and then who did it? You should have argued in that line. You kept quiet. So to which Latu Maharaj told Ramakrishna, Lorraine says that this creation is a natural process. It is not created by God. To which Ramakrishna replied to Latu, is it possible for nature to create? The master said, if there is an effect, there must be cause that preceded it. How can it be automatically or by accident this whole world or universe be created? See what so superior intelligence Ramakrishna had. If there is an effect, there must be a cause that preceded it. There is a powerful being behind this creation. The whole universe and everything, whatever you see, is created by God. You should have told Naren that if God did not create the world, then who did it? Then Latu told that Naren was telling that this creation is natural process. Ramakrishna is putting forth his argument. Is it possible for nature to create? The master said, if there is an effect, there must be the cause that preceded it. There is a powerful being behind this creation. Now Latu Maharaj is telling about himself. He is telling, did you know that the master snatched me from the snares of the world? I was an orphan. I had lost my parents in my young age. But Sri Ramakrishna flooded me with love and affection. Not just showed little, but he flooded me with love and affection. If he had not accepted me, I would have been like an animal, spending all my days working like a slave. My life would have been worth nothing. I am an unlettered man. And now Latu Maharaj is continuing. Sri Ramakrishna used to tell me what was the teaching of Master to me. He used to tell me, Latu, always keep your mind spotless, pure. Don't allow impure thoughts to come to your mind. Latu, always keep your mind spotless, no blemish. So Amala, Niranjana, that is spotless. Amala, Mala means impurity. Amala means without impurity. Many people keep the name Amala. I tell them that is the meaning. Blemishless, spotless. Niranjana, Anjana means the dirt or spot. Niranjana is spotless again, perfect, no impurity. So Ramakrishna is telling Latu, Latu, always keep your mind spotless. This is also teaching for us. Always keep your mind pure. Don't allow impure thoughts to enter it. Don't allow impure thoughts to enter your mind. While Ramakrishna is teaching Latu, this teaching is directly applying for us. It is applied for us. You have to take all these things. What is that? Always keep your mind spotless. Don't allow impure thoughts to enter it. If you find such desires or impure thoughts tormenting you, then what is the remedy? Immediately pray to God and chant His name. If you pray to God, if your mind is being tormented by impure thoughts and dirty thoughts, then what is the way out? Ramakrishna is telling, pray to God, first thing, and chant His name. Japa, japa, japa. Pray to God and do the japa. Name has the complete strength of the Lord in it. There is no difference between Ramakrishna has to tell name and the named. The strength of the Lord is hidden in that name, in the potential form. So if you chant it, then that whole power will be released. It becomes kinetic. If you find a desire or impure thought tormenting you, pray to God and chant His name. The Lord will protect you. If the mind still will not remain calm and it wants to rush towards the impure thoughts, then go to the temple of the Divine Mother, or any temple for that sake. Here he is telling to go to the Kali Mandir. Then go to the temple of the Mother and sit before her. Then finally Ramakrishna is giving up the secret. Even if that doesn't work out, then what? Or else, come here. Do not tell come to me. Come here, pointing out to his body. Come here, pointing to himself. If you come near me, if you look at me, that is enough. All those impure thought, because Ramakrishna would think only of God and God alone. So there was nothing in himself other than God. So finally, if you can't control your mind, just look at me, come to me. He couldn't use the word I, so come here, he's telling. Once a devotee at Dakshineshwar was behaving badly. I think you have read this incident in his life, but again we will go through that. Where Ramakrishna is teaching Latu to be humble, not to be harsh, not to be outspoken. The truth may be good, but it should not be told in a hurting way to anybody. You don't have the right to hurt anybody through your harsh words. You will earn sin because of that. So Latu Maharaj is being taught by Ramakrishna, by which again we can learn. Latu Maharaj is telling, once a devotee at Dakshineshwar was behaving very badly with Ramakrishna. And so Latu is telling, I found it impossible to check my irritation because he is hurting through his abusive words my Guru, Ramakrishna. So I found it impossible to check my irritation, Latu is telling. So I scolded that person and he felt very hurt. Even Latu was about to beat him with a stick. That person was behaving very badly. Latu himself is admitting, yes, I became irritated and I scolded him, and that person felt very hurt. The master knew how the devotee had suffered. And when the devotee had gone, Ramakrishna called Latu. Latu, it is not good to speak harshly to those who come here. They are tormented with worldly problems. They're already having so much of worldly problems. They come here for peace. If they come here and they are scolded for their shortcomings, then where will they go? in the presence of holy men, in the presence of holy company, or in front of the God, never use harsh words to anyone. Ramakrishna is commanding Latu. In the presence of holy company or anywhere, never use harsh words to anyone and never say anything to cause pain to another. Then Latu Maharaj is questioning all of us. Do you know what Master told me next? The Master told me, Latu, tomorrow visit this man and speak to him in such a way that he will forget what you said to him today. So the next day, Latu is telling, I visited him. My pride, my ego was humbled. I spoke to him very sweetly. When I returned, however, the master asked me again, Latu, did you offer him my salutations from me? To no, master. Amazed at his words, I said, I had not offered your pranams to him. Then Ramakrishna said, Latu, go to him again. It is more than 6 miles, that house of that person, Girish Chandra Ghosh. It was Girish Chandra Ghosh who was in a drunken mood and abused Ramakrishna that day. Latu was about to beat him and he was very irritated and scolded him. Now, Latu walked, already he has walked 6 miles and come back in the hot sun. Now again Ramakrishna told, go back and offer my pranams. So again I went to that man and conveyed the master's salutation. At this, that devotee burst into tears and I was moved to see him weeping. When I returned back to Sri Ramakrishna, the master said, Latu, now your misdeed is pardoned. See, if you hurt somebody with your harsh words, you will earn sin. If you are rude to somebody, if you hurt somebody, it's very sinful. Now, after so much of asking for forgiveness and going there again, when that devotee was moved, now Ramakrishna is telling Latu, now Latu, your misdeed is pardoned. So please, all of you should be very careful not to hurt anybody with your harsh words, whatever might be the provocation. Forbear. Sahanam sarvadukkanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha nigadyate titiksha sahanam. One day, Girish Chandra Ghosh, Latu Maharaj is a witness to this. What happened? One day, Girish Chandra Ghosh saluted Master by raising his folded hands to his forehead. You know, in India, that is the custom. When they go to the temple, when they are far off, when they want to show their humility in front of the Lord or some great people, while coming, if they are far off, they will raise their hand above the head like this, doing pranam, not like this. So that this position is the Turiya here. This is where the Parabrahma, Shiva, the place of Shiva and Guru, Sahasrara Chakra, Turiya. So that they will raise the hands to the Turiya like this, Turiya Avastha. That is very high respectful way of showing pranams to anybody. So generally they do it to God, and some great people, they raise the hands and do that pranam, rarely. So now once Girish Chandra Ghosh did the pranam to Ramakrishna in this manner. One day Girish Ghosh saluted the master by raising his folded hands to his forehead up to the level of the Sahasrara Turiya. The master immediately returned the salutation by bowing from the waist. So when he did it, Ramakrishna bowed down up to the waist, level of the waist, to that person back. The Avatara would have accepted it, the Lord himself. But Ramakrishna is so humble, teaching us humility. And we want to become egoistic. See, your Ishtadevata, your Avatara, the Yuga Avatara, is showing us how to be humble. And we want to be egoistic always. One day, Girish Chandra Ghosh saluted the master by raising his folded hands to his forehead The master immediately returned the salutation by bowing from the waist. Now Girish didn't stop. Girish saluted the master again. He too bowed down. The master saluted Girish Babu with an even deeper bow. Ramakrishna couldn't be conquered even in humility. At last, when Girish Chandra Babu prostrated flat on the ground before him, then he did Dirghadanda Pranama or Ashtanga, Sashtanga Pranama, touching all the 8 limbs to the ground. At last, when Girish Babu prostrated flat on the ground before him, then the master blessed him. Later, Girish Chandra Ghosh would tell, Latu Maharaj is telling, this time the Lord in the form of Ramakrishna has come to conquer the world through prostration. So in all the earlier avatars, the Lord has so many weapons. As Krishna, he had the Chakra, Sudarshana Chakra. As Rama, he had the Kodanda, the bow, great bow. So like that, each time he came as the avatara, or all the gods and goddesses having Trishul, Gada, and so many arms with them. But you see, Ramakrishna is not even completely dressed. His dress is so simple, and he doesn't have any arms and armaments at all. But Girish Chandra Ghosh is telling, Namaskara Astra, the weapon of humility, the weapon of Namaskara, prostration. So this time, in this avatara, this time the Lord has come to conquer the whole world through prostration. Prostration here is humility. With his humility, Sri Ramakrishna would conquer everybody. That is the avatara, this avatara's weapon. Namaskara Astra. Astra means weapon. Namaskara Astra. Then what does Vivekananda tell about the weapon of Ramakrishna, of this avatara? I think today in the morning you are hearing that song. Shakti Samudra Samuthata Rangam Jaya Deva Deva Jaya Jaya Naradeva. In that song, Vivekananda has written that Sanskrit verse. In that, about Ramakrishna, he tells, this time the Lord has come with the weapon of Samshayanasha Mahastram. Samshayanasha. His weapon is killing our doubts, removing all our doubts. Samshayanasha Mahaastra. The great weapon. Very, very difficult to remove our doubts. We have so many doubts. Samshaya, always doubting everything. And this time Ramakrishna has this weapon of Samshaya, Rakshasa, the Asura, the demon of doubting. We have a very big demon in our personality, doubting everything. But all of us are doubting Thomases. So Samshaya, Rakshasa, the demon of doubting, Nasha Mahastram, destruction of that demon of doubt. That is Astra, Maha-Astram, the great weapon. And Girish Chandra Ghosh is telling, this time the Lord, that is Ramakrishna, has come to conquer the world through prostration, through humility, bowing down. Girish Chandra Ghosh is telling, Latu Maharaj is the witness and he is narrating all these incidents. Now Girish Chandra Ghosh is telling, in his incarnation as Krishna, it was the flute. Then as in his incarnation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the name of the Lord. But the weapon of his this powerful incarnation, this time is the salutation, Namaskara Astra. The master used to say, learn to be humble. Learn to be humble. The ego will be thus removed. But be careful. Don't show pretense of humility, but inside you will be burning. That is not humility. Kaya Vacha Manasa. Your action and your thought to coincide. Whatever really you are, That should be the outer this thing. So humility is not only in your outer action and inner thing you will be crumbling and grudging and cursing. No, that is not humility. So Master is telling, learn to be humble. Why? The ego will be thus removed. Why? Then the Lord will manifest. See, what is the main cause of all the problems and suffering, all this Maya? Ego. Ramakrishna used to tell, ego is Maya. Your ego, our ego is Maya. That is the one which is holding us from God. God is very near to us. To demonstrate that, once a devotee had come to Dakshineshwar, Ramakrishna got hold of a turkey towel, a big towel, the turkey towel is very big. He held it in front of him like this, both the hands he held that towel. Now he asked the devotee, can you see me? No, sir. Why? The towel is obstructing. Similarly, see, I was so near to you. Ramakrishna is telling, I'm so near to you. But even then you can't see me. Why? Because the towel is obstructing. Likewise, the thick layer of ego, even though God is very, very near to you, you are that God. Your real essence is pure consciousness. You are the Atman, you are the Paramatman, you are the Parabrahma Swarupa, all of you. But what is that? Just covered it up. Why are you not aware? Because of ego. Ego is the one which is obstructing all these things. So why should we do pranam? The moment you do namaskar, what is the idea behind you doing namaskar? The idea is you recognize God in other living being and you tell Namaha Te, Namaste. Namaste. When you bow down to anybody, that is a Hindu custom, not shaking hand or hugging like a bear, the hug of a bear. No, that is not the way. Again, another virus is coming. Monkeypox or something that also comes from contact. It's now spread to 7 countries, the European countries, America, Canada, some other European countries, 7 countries. Monkeypox, rashes and the viral infection is spreading through touch, shaking hand, hugging. So it is coming through touch. So I think how much ever the nature is trying to teach us, this is not the custom, this is not the tradition. During the COVID, they had stopped shaking hands and hugging. Now again, they have started it. You can't give up the old habits. And now again, the nature is giving the monkeypox. And they didn't want to shake hands. Then what would they do? We have seen here. They would do like this and they would hit their elbows. And some people would go to the extent of giving a shake hand with the leg, touching the legs. Why do you want all those things? That's not the Indian tradition, Hindu tradition. Namaskar. Why do you do the namaskar, folded hands? Because namaste, namaha te. Te to you, namaha, I bow down. Why? Because God is in you. Seeing God in you, I am bowing down to you. The moment I do namaskara or even panchanga namaskara, 5 limbs touching to the ground, your 2 feet, bent feet and 2 hands and the head. 2 to 4, 5 feet, panchanga namaskar. Then you do sashtanga, 8 limbs on the ground. Then there is dirghadanda pranam. Why do we do pranam? That is to show humility to God. The moment you are humble, what happens? Ego is destroyed, ego is gone. When you do bow down, my ego is gone. I am recognizing God in you, respecting you. My ego is gone. When I do the panchanga namaskara to God, at that period, that second when you are bowing down, your ego is gone. Humility. Sashtanga pranama, dirghadanda pranama, your ego is gone. So when ego is gone from you, what remains? God alone remains. What is obstructing me from God? Ego. When you do pranams, what happens? Why do we do pranams? Recognizing the God in you, I do the pranam. Then what happens then? Your ego vanishes for that second when you are doing the pranam. Then if your ego vanishes, what happens? God is manifested in you. Isn't that great? So humility, why should you practice humility? Ramakrishna, humility is practiced because Ramakrishna is telling. Why don't we learn all these things? Why don't we understand? See, Ramakrishna himself is telling here. It's not some Tom, Dick, and Harry or somebody telling. It is Ramakrishna, the Avatar himself, telling, learn to be humble. The ego will be thus removed. If ego is removed, what remains? God alone remains. One day, Hazra, Ramakrishna had kept a very good personality. All different varieties of characters would be there. Deliberately, on purpose, Ramakrishna had kept this person called Hazra, the most egoistic, not even egoistic, you can't call egotistic, the most rank hypocrite. Though he was such a hypocrite and egoistic, yet Ramakrishna had kept him. Why? For all of us, for us, see the character. You have Hazra in you, you have different varieties of character in you. So that all that character, the nature, we can remove it. When we see him and Ramakrishna dealing with him, all that is in us, worst character may be there in us. So to remove that, Ramakrishna had kept this rank hypocrite and egotistic person called Hazara. One day, Hazara said to the master, Latu Maharaj was there, was seeing all these things, witness to all these things, he's telling one day, this Hazara said to Ramakrishna himself, and he has the audacity to call Ramakrishna by his old name, Gadadhar. Gadadhar, another name of Sri Ramakrishna. You are not proceeding along the right lines. He's telling Ramakrishna, you are not proceeding along the right lines. If you continue to be like this, people won't respect you for long. And he's thinking that Ramakrishna is doing all these things, show off for respect of the people. He doesn't care. Ramakrishna would not care for anybody respecting him. But this Hazara is advising Ramakrishna himself, Gadadhar, if you are proceeding along, you are not proceeding along the right line. You are not behaving properly. If you continue like this, people won't respect you for long. At least, he's telling, at least show little doing japa. Keep a japamala in your hand and show it to the people that you are taking the name of the Lord. At least show some pretense, show them a little something. Why not count beads as I do? See, I'll be always catching hold of the japamala and counting. That is not for the name of the Lord to show it off to the people. See, I'm doing japa. So why not count your beads like me? That too is telling, imitate me. Why not count beads as I do? This made the master laugh, roar with laughter. This made the master laugh. He called everybody who were there. Harish, Gopal, Rakal, come here, see what this Hazara is telling me. This made master to roar in laughter. He called Harish, Gopal, Rakal, who were all there. Harish, Gopal, Rakal, come here. See what Hazara said to me. Do you know what advice Hazara is giving me? He's telling me to start counting beads, to do the japa. But you see, I can't do those things now. Still, he says that people won't respect me if I don't tell the beads. Is this true? Once even taking the advice of, he gave like a child, he would follow everybody's advice, Ramakrishna. So once, okay, Lord, this Hazara is criticizing me that you have to, at least to show up to the people, do some japa, show, pretense. Then that day, Ramakrishna took it seriously. He took the japamala, not in the right hand, in the left hand. He just pulled one bead of the mala. Just one bead, he rolled it. He didn't even tell the name of God. What is the highest state of spiritual life? Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Just one roll of the bead. Ramakrishna's mind went into Samadhi. So deep was the Samadhi. Then for 3 days his mind could be brought down, couldn't be brought down. Great difficulty after repeating the name of the Lord and doing so many things. After the 3 days the mind came down. So pure that it would merge in God the moment anything is the smallest. And with great difficulty, Ramakrishna had to hold it down to the world for the sake of the people, for the good of the people, welfare of the world. And now Latu is advising, sorry, not Latu, Hazara, sorry. Latu is watching and telling all these things, the incident, the reminiscences. And Hazara is advising Ramakrishna to at least pretend in front of the people. To go on like that without repeating the name like me, see, I will be always doing japa. If you don't pretend, then people will not respect you. So do it. So once Ramakrishna tried, he's telling, nowadays I can't take the name of the Lord. If I take the name, mind will rush. Even the smallest, even the thing like alcohol, the name Karana. Karana is alcohol in Bengali language and Sanskrit. So even that name of the alcohol would remind the Jagat Karana. The Karana is the source of intoxication, but God is the source of the highest intoxication, that is divine joy, Ananda. So even the word alcohol would remind Ramakrishna of God. If the word alcohol reminds us of all that bad things associated with that, but Ramakrishna, even that would make him remind God. That was the purity of Ramakrishna's mind. And what about if he takes just a bead, one japamala, one roll, finished, it went into deep samadhi, very difficult to bring it down. That was the purity. And Ramakrishna roared with laughter when Azra advised, and he called everybody and telling them, Harish, Gopal, Rakal, come, see what, do you know what advice Azra is giving me? He's telling me to start counting beads. But you see, I can't do those things now. Still, he says that people won't respect me if I don't tell beads. Is this true? Just like a baby is asking everybody. To which Harish, another devotee, told, pay no attention to his words, sir. He's just a fool. Don't say that. Ramakrishna is again chilling like a child. Don't say that. You don't call him a fool. The master said, the Divine Mother is speaking through him. The Divine Mother is also present in him. The Divine, don't tell harsh words. The Divine Mother is speaking through him. Harish was surprised. Harish was surprised. What? The Divine Mother speaking through Hazara? Such a egotistic hypocrite, rank hypocrite? And Divine Mother is speaking through Hazara? Yes, answered the master. Mother, Divine Mother conveys her messages like this too. See the attitude. See what wonderful purity of the mind. You can't see anything bad in anybody. This is only Divine Mother in everybody. Nevertheless, Hazara's mind, Latu Maharaj is telling now, never mind, whatever might be the attitude of Ramakrishna, Hazara's mind was a little bit twisted. And he, to show off while practicing japa, he would be rolling the beads instead of telling the name of the God. Latu Maharaj is telling he would meditate on worldly things. So he didn't make any progress in spiritual life. But then what happened afterwards? But he escapes the snares of world by holding on to Lorraine because of the grace of Swami Vivekananda. Because Ramakrishna loved Vivekananda, and Vivekananda pleaded with Ramakrishna to protect, save this peculiar guy, twisted guy, Hazra. So because of he held on to Lorraine, Narendra, it was due to Lorraine's insistence, Narendra or Swami Vivekananda's insistence, that Sri Ramakrishna blessed Hazra. Vivekananda forced Ramakrishna to bless him because Narendra had come down to the earth to lift the fallen. He had so much of sympathy towards the men of bad character, villains, hooligans, everybody, like Shiva. Vivekananda was Shiva himself. And you see Shiva, who are the retinue who follow Shiva? Bhuta, Preta, Pishacha, Gana, hobgoblins, ghosts, Bhutanatha. He gives shelter to everybody, the poisonous snakes, the scorpions. So whether they are sinners, the thief, Stenanam Pataye Namo Namaha, in Rudra you get, is even the lord of the thieves. So everybody is given shelter. He will not make any discrimination between the good and the bad. That is Shiva. And Vivekananda was Shiva avatar. And anybody lowly, that's why he was given us that wonderful message, command. Just like this, Atiti Devo Bhava, Pitur Devo Bhava, Matru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. Taittiriya Upanishad. Take, I'm also giving you an additional list. What is that? Dushta Devo Bhava. Let the wicked be your God. So here, literally, this wicked guy, twisted guy, Hazara, because he held on to Narendra, he insisted, forced Ramakrishna to bless him. Pulatu Maharaj is a witness to all that thing. Nevertheless, Hazara's mind was a bit twisted. While practicing japa, he would meditate on worldly things instead of thinking of God. So he never made any progress in spiritual life. But he escaped the snares of the world by holding on to Naren, that is Narendra, Vivekananda. It was due to Vivekananda's insistence that Sri Ramakrishna blessed Hazara. After the master passed away, Hazara began to think himself as an avatar himself. Ramakrishna would never proclaim to anybody. But here was Hazara, would go around Dakshineshwar telling that I am the next avatar. Ramakrishna is gone now, I am the avatar. Hazara began to think of himself as an avatar, and he went a little further. Hazara, even he thought that is greater than Ramakrishna. One day, Hazara had a desire to press the master's feet, but the master wouldn't allow impure people to do that. Master wouldn't let him. So Hazara felt hurt. He left the room and sat outside and was very morose. See, Karunamaya, compassionate master. At last the master called him back, and that day only he allowed Hazara to touch his feet and serve the master. On another occasion, Latu Maharaj is telling, Hazara wanted to lecture. He had a deep desire to go and advise everybody. He was advising even Ramakrishna. See, all these characters are in all of us. Don't point to others. It is in us, in me, in you, and everybody. So I have to remove that Hazara in me, that hypocrisy in me, the ego in me, the wrong twisted mind in me. Everybody, maybe it varies in degrees. That's why Ramakrishna has kept this character not for fun. Why did Divine Mother keep Hazara here? Why did Ramakrishna allow for such a person to stay with him? Because seeing that, we can analyze our mind, analyze our personality, see if Hazara's character is there, remove it, give it up. That's fine. Otherwise, it's not just for joke or fun here. On another occasion, Hazara wanted to lecture. That is our nature, advising everybody, lecturing. You get an opportunity, oh, they will start, they don't know anything about spirituality, they don't practice japa, they don't practice anything spiritual, but they will read some books and hear and start lecturing everybody, which they are not practicing. They don't practice it themselves, they don't have the time even to exercise, they don't have the time even to do some japa, but they will start lecturing and telling everybody this Hazara is in us. So on another occasion, Hazara wanted to lecture to those who came to the temple. When they arrived to see Ramakrishna, they have come to see Ramakrishna, he would go and catch hold of them and tell Ramakrishna is not there, he has gone somewhere. They will tell a lie. Why? Because he wants to lecture to them. Why do you want to hear Ramakrishna? I will start telling, I know many more things than Ramakrishna. So on another occasion, Hazara wanted to lecture to those who came to the temple. When they arrived to see Ramakrishna, the master, Hazara told them, today Sri Ramakrishna is not here. Many people who came, he would deceive them, telling that Ramakrishna is not there. Why? Because I am here. You ask from me, I will give lecture, advice to you. So Hazara, he told, today, when people came to see Ramakrishna, he told them, today Ramakrishna is not here. What will you gain by merely sitting in his room? Why do you sit in his room? Maybe Ramakrishna had gone to the temple or to the Panchavati. Why are you sitting in Ramakrishna's room? Come hear my words. I will lecture. Come and listen to what I have to say. But no, nobody went to him. You can't fool people. You see, nobody went to him. And Lorraine, Latu Maharaj is telling, Lorraine was Hazra's bosom friend. Used to enjoy his company and make fun of him. Just praise him and make him happy. Lorraine, Narendra was Hazra's bosom friend. He would prepare tobacco for Lorraine and he would have long discussions with him. So Narendra, in a funny way, used to tease him. In front of him, he used to praise him. How? Lorraine used to tease him. Oh, Hazra, really you are a wonderful Siddha. Siddha Purusha, a perfect soul. At last I have found a rare soul who is constantly telling upon his beads. Your rosary is so very nice. Such big, bright beads. There is none like you. Narendra used to praise him, so he would be very happy. Feel bloated. So what do all these people know about me? Only Narendra knows about my greatness. See how praising he is? And see, he is making him of a fool. Narendra is praising his beads. Oh, big, big beads. The Japamala is so beautiful. So Narayan used to tease him, but this egoistic fellow, hypocrite, he couldn't understand. And he would feel that he is being praised. Really, Hazra, you are a wonderful Siddha Purusha, perfected soul. Narendra used to tell, at last I have found a rare soul who is constantly telling his beads. Your rosary is very nice. Such big, bright beads. There is none like you. Bloated up in ego. Very happy. That's why Narendra is bosom friend. Even Ramakrishna doesn't know anything about me. See, Narendra only knows about me. He's my bosom friend. Then Hazra would swell up with ego, pride, and tell all of the Latu and other people who were there. You people cannot understand. Not even Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna also has not understood. Only Naren, Vivekananda knows me. Just Latu Maharaj is telling, just see his pride. Man falls. We all fall in this way because of this false pride, self-importance. Man falls in this way. And let alone devotion, he doesn't have even little devotion. He's always chant Soham, Soham. What is Soham? Saha Aham. Saha, that Parabrahman, Aham, I am. Identifying with the ego, with his body, with this crooked mind, is telling Soham. After the purity of the mind, after your devotion, yes, you can practice that Soham. But with so much of ego, so much of pride, he used to tell Soham, Soham, Saha Aham, that God I am. Saha is that God. Parabrahman. Aham means I am. I am that God. Saha Aham is Soham. I am Brahman. The master who used to tell us, Latu Maharaj is telling, that master used to tell us, don't associate with such people. Please do not associate with people because your faith will be destroyed. Don't associate with Hazra. Like the good company will bring you satsanga, then nissanga, detachment will come to you. But if you associate with people like Hazra, then that bad quality will come to you. Dussanga will come to you. That bad company will come to you. Don't associate with such people, hypocrites. You will lose your faith in devotion. Your bhakti will go away. Yours is the path of devotion. What will you do with that dry knowledge? Because it's very good to have the knowledge of the Upanishad of the Brahman and thinking that you are God. But he is applying it in the wrong way. And you are devotees, your faith will be lost. And he knows only the dry knowledge. He doesn't know how to apply it. Go to in the complete works of Vivekananda, he has given us the correct idea. But if you go to such wrong people, the hypocrites, then you will learn that hypocrisy not the real idea. So yours is the path of devotion. What will you do with the dry knowledge? So now we will stop studying the reminiscences of Lata Maharaj. Thereby we are getting so many good teachings, so many good things to be followed, to be careful about the Dussanga and some other so many things Ramakrishna is advising with this. We are getting wonderful teachings, we are getting wonderful characters, very helpful to analyze our own nature and remove all such false things in us. So now we will dedicate some 4 or 5 minutes left for if there are any doubts or any questions, we can entertain that. Any doubts? Any questions? Yeah, on the live chat there are 2 questions. If there are questions put there, I can look at it. The questions are, Om Namo Narayana Swamiji, can you kindly answer this doubt? I detest few people as suffering because of them. Even after listening all lectures, the moment I see them, I feel disgusted. Pragmatic solution. So I too used to feel like that earlier. I too had this problem. When I would see the people with the bad character and whom I would not like, or who had hurt me, I too would get that. But after going through the Vedanta, the Upanishad, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, sarvam khalu idam brahma. So I'm trying to apply gradually. I'm applying that, and I will not only just try to see God in the enemies, in the people who are bad in nature, but I will start immediately serving them. Anybody for that sake, anybody coming, even if they are good or bad, I will immediately prepare some coffee, give them eatables, I talk sweet words. Then I will force upon myself to see God and serve them. And I've succeeded. For many, many years, I've done that. And I'm succeeding. I'm not completely controlled or conquered it, but I've succeeded to some extent. So all these days you were taught to detest by your parents or by your neighbors or your teachers to do so. Now, why should we follow only one method? Why don't we try a new method too? Because you want peace of mind. That's why mother always tells, if you want peace of mind, then don't find fault with others. Because if you want to find fault with others, first you have to color your mind with that fault. You have to bring down your mind to that level of whatever they have committed. And you are repeatedly punishing yourself. It will harm your health. It will harm your psyche. And it will take you away from spiritual life. So do you want all that thing? If you don't want, if you want to progress, then you see God, try to see God even in the enemies, serve them. That's why Vivekananda is told, Dushta Devo Bhava. So it's not just words, frothy words. It's pragmatic, it is practical. Otherwise you will suffer. If you don't want to suffer, do that. Or else, why do you want to meet such person? Even if they come to you, you go away from that place. Why do you go to meet them? If there is any chance, go away from that place if you are so troubled. Otherwise, if you want to really progress in spiritual life, practice this. Yeah. Chaitanya. Swamiji, what is ego? Can you kindly elaborate? I have explained it many times. Again, I am going to explain. Ego. See, because of the presence of a red or a yellow or whatever orange flower or something colored near the prism or the spatika, the the prism or that spatika, so that it will be so much transparent, the light can easily pass through that. It doesn't have any color. But if you keep a yellow or a red hibiscus or something colored near it, it looks as if it has got the color. But in reality, it doesn't. Likewise, the Atman or God, nearness of the Atman or God, the mind, the body, and our bundle of character, our samskaras, creates an imaginary real thing called ego. Just like though the prism doesn't have any color, likewise God is not attached to anything. Because of the nearness of the body, mind, and our bundle of character, we get a false individuality called I. That is ignorance, Maya. So that is called ego. So it is mixed up. It mixes up this world and God. Through that ego, we mix up and we create an individuality. I am so and so, I am so, I get that idea, I. And it is constantly changing. When you are a baby, you had a different I, ego. When you grew up, you had a different ego. As a crawling baby, different, and then walking baby, talking baby. Then you come to your childhood, then your ego, your identification with the bundle of character, samskaras, vasanas from the earlier life was different. That's why you feel the varieties of character, different characters. It is all carried forward. Then as you grow up, getting new experience, your ego changes, your identity changes. Then when you go to the high school, your identity, ego changes. Then when you finish your degree, got another new ego. You get car, wealth, your ego changes. When you put beautiful shoes and colorful things and go, your ego changes. When you are in the dress of the puja dress, your ego changes. When you are in another dress, your ego will be different, identity will be different. When you are married, you are a different person. When you have children, when they start calling you father, your ego is changing. When you become old, your ego is changing. So constantly this idea of about yourself is changing, but you hold on to that false thing. Because of the presence of nearness of God, it is very near to God. It is in between your mind and God. So it creates as if some real thing is there, but it is false. It doesn't have any existence, because you can see how it is changing constantly. So the reality is God. Everything is getting from God, Atman, who is within you. But you start thinking that you are doing all those things. You are responsible for everything. So that false identity, individuality, which arises from the nearness of the God, just like the prism, when it is kept near a colored object, it appears as if it has been colored. Likewise, our Atman appears as if it is having all these qualities, the bundle of character with that individuality. Appears. That is ego. Yeah. Chaitanya has asked it. Another question is, Sri Ramakrishna says, even for fun not to speak false. Teasing Hazara, shall it accounts not to testing the truth? Now, these are all the teachings for us to be followed. You don't do that. Narendra is of a different quality. He's a Shiva avatar. He has not come here to remove his sins or anything. He has come here for a different purpose. So suppose now the president of the country and the terrorist both are accompanied by commandos, black hat commandos or whatever commando in that particular country. So can you compare the president of the country with the terrorist? Because they are looking alike. So likewise, the set of rules and regulation goes on changing for the householders. The set of rules and do's and don'ts will change for the sannyasins. For the realized soul, it will be different. So don't take up what Narendra did. That thing is for me. If Narendra does that, he will lose his punya. He has accumulated lot of punya as a Saptarshi, and even before that as a Rishi. So he has lot of punya. One lie or one fun will reduce his punya. That would not be a great thing for him. But for me and you, if we tell lies, even for fun, we will be losing our punya. So if you want to imitate Vivekananda and lose your punya, please do that. But if you want to go forward in spiritual life, follow the teachings, good teachings, what is there. Why do you want to compare between others? We don't have the thing to judge. Even judging others, such people, is wrong. So let us now worry about our spiritual life, not Narendra's. Just like somebody was trying to tell, oh, Yudhishthira told a lie. We don't see the other higher qualities of Yudhishthira. It's so many good qualities. And that too, when he didn't tell a lie. While he was telling Atakkunjaraha, Ashwattama, Atakkunjaraha, elephant named Ashwattama, was killed. Then the loud conch was blown by Krishna at that time. And Dronacharya heard only as Ashwattama Hataha. And he has not yet told a lie. But people will catch hold of that small thing. Tell, oh, Dharmaraja told a lie. All the so many good things we don't find. We find only that small mistake that was also not a mistake and lie, and blame Yudhishthira. So Yudhishthira was sent out to find out a bad guy. And he went around the world. Duryodhana was sent out to find a good guy, good person. He went around the world. Both came back empty-handed. Yudhishthira or Dharmaraya couldn't find the head of the Pandavas. He couldn't find a bad guy in this world at all. Whereas Duryodhana couldn't find a good guy, good man at all. He came empty-handed. So whatever we have, we start seeing in others. So let us worry about this thing. We will not tell. Take that advice of Ramakrishna. We will not tell. It was told to Swami Brahmananda. So Brahmananda was at a different level of spiritual ladder, rung of the ladder. So some teachings will be universal, some for particular people, some for different this thing that may not apply for another person. So let us apply the teaching for ourselves, not to compare or judge somebody else. Yeah. There is one more question. Namaste Maharaj. Manassannu Bhagavantanalli Nelisuvudu Hege Tilisi Swamiji. So how to maintain or keep our mind in God always. So how to do that? So one thing is, that's why the Guru has given the japa, doing the japa mantra, when we are doing all the work. Your hands may be engaged, your mind may be engaged, but your mouth will be quiet. So it can go on repeating the mantra. So by law of association, now when you do the mantra, automatically the thought of God will come to your mind. So one portion of the mind will be thinking of the God. Just like Brahmananda ji used to tell, with one hand catch hold of the feet of the Lord, and with the other hand do all the work of the world. So likewise we can do that. Holy Mother has demonstrated while cooking. When the rice is boiling there, what will you do? Will you be gone telling the fire to cook the rice and oh rice boil, oh rice boil? No, you are empty. But you have to be there, presence, do the japa. Likewise, all the 24/7, even while we are in the office working, we are not engaged always in the working, then we can think of God, do the japa. While driving, so much of time is wasted. The mantra can be repeated. While doing all our house chores, the mantra can be repeated. So constantly, you can think of God. Suppose you forget it, don't worry about you have forgotten that. Again, start thinking of God. So your effort, where there is will, there is way. Your effort is very important. Go on trying and trying and trying. Ramakrishna has promised if you keep one step towards God, God will approach you 10 steps. So in multiple ratios, you will get God. One, you do one and God will give you 10. He will come near you 10 times more. Rather, it's our experience. If you do one times, God will give you 100 times or even more. Have faith and go forward. Do one at least. Then God will come 10 times or 100 times to you. So it's to think of God constantly. It is you who have to do. Suppose I'm hungry, I have to eat food. You want to think of God constantly, then you have to do it. What is the way out? You have to do it. Suppose you want to taste the sweet and tell Swamiji, I want to taste the sweet. Suppose I give it, until you put it to your mouth and taste it, what can I do? So you have to do it. It's in your hand. You have the time. You have to make the time. You want spiritual progress, you have to do it. Now, there is another question. That's over. The same thing has been put into English. I think, yeah. I think I have answered almost all the questions.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Yes, Kolan Chetty, please tell.
Swamiji, in English there is a saying that says familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we have people who we always help, for instance, and the day that you don't help them because of whatever reason, they automatically pounce on that particular item that you did not lend a hand in, and thereafter they bad mouth you. And this is typically what you've said in this lesson, Swamiji, that the difference between a saintly person and or a godly person and the human race. They'll remember all the
only the bad things.
Only the bad things. Yeah.
Small bad things also. If you have done 100 good, they'll forget it. Only one small mistake, they will make it a big issue and criticize you. That is human nature. And the God nature is, the God will, even if I have committed 100 mistakes, a small good thing, he will take up that good thing and allow you to come up in spiritual life.
Swamiji, does that mean that we should continue helping these people? I mean that's what we should be doing.
See,
right?
Again the conclusion is, try to please God. That's what the last mantra we tell. Tasmin tushte jagat tushtam. You cannot please this world, universe. You go on picking up everybody and trying to please them, you cannot please the world. But on the contrary, you please God and the whole world will be pleased. Because God exists in everybody. See that portion, whether he criticizes you or he even may not give even a smallest of gratitude towards you. He may not even thank you. That is the Karma Yoga, basics of Karma Yoga, telling that you should not expect even a thanks from anybody. If whatever you are given to them, forget it. Give because you have done it to the Lord in them. You have not done that to that person. So even if he badmouths you, your work to the God in him has been finished. There ends the matter. You have got the grace of God now. There ends the matter, whether he shows gratitude to you, whether he thanks you, whether he badmouths you. Suppose he badmouths you, what happened? You have given that person the help, so you have got the punya. Now if he badmouths you and he has to, anybody scolding you or insulting you, then he has to share your papa. So both way it is win-win situation. You have helped him, seeing God in him, you got punya. He has badmouthed you, not shown gratitude, he has taken away your papa. So both way you have gained win-win situation. So where is the thing to worry? You be happy, enjoy the presence of God.
That is a very good accounting, Swamiji.
Yeah. No
Thank you.
Yeah.
Swamiji, Om.
Yes, Shrikant, please tell.
Maharaj, when we receive help from others, what should be our attitude? And
Gratitude. The Lord has given us. See, we should not do the same. Do you want to become a God person, godly man, or a worldly man? Ordinary human beings, they forget. That is called kritagnata, ungratefulness. But if you are emulating, see, God only catches hold of even the smallest good done, even if they have done hundreds of mistakes against you. Even the smallest of good thing, God takes up that and lifts that person. So you want to become a God person, do that work which God will do. So easy. Decide what you want to become. From the human level, do you want to go to the brutish level? Or from the human level, do you want to go to the divine level? If you want to become divine, then follow the aspects of God and forgive everything, whatever they have done. Go on doing good, flooding them with good things, that's all. Yeah, any other questions? Because we have very less time in this life to take revenge and finding fault in others. We have now quickly, because very less time left in our life already, we have spent so much of time. Now we have to take the name of the Lord, do as much good as possible, and gain more punya, gain the grace of the Lord very quickly. No time for all other things now. So do good things as much as possible. Take the name of the Lord as much as possible. No time for fault finding. Yeah, if there is no question or if there is no doubt, then I will conclude with the prayer. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarvayagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Pridite Prinitam Jagat Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you. Namaste. Om Namo Narayanaya.